Hey everyone, Warwick's here. So we're back with a little bit of a twist on individual project month. I decided to do one that has a featured artist here because I was struggling for stuff that sounded interesting to me, honestly. So today we're going to be covering Heat Waves, which is originally by Glass Animals, a song that I absolutely adore and love. It's one of my favorite songs. And I'm going to change this road. There we go. It was a little bright for my eyes. And this is covered by Marwan Ayman. This features Eric Holloway, who we've already seen before in the Hoist the Colors mix that I covered, that Bobby Bass posted a few weeks back. This is another mix of his. He also, Eric Holloway is also someone that did a very cool trios mix with Peyton Parrish and the sound of that music sound, or that sound of music, that did Vikings Valhalla cover. I might cover that eventually, maybe going into the new year, but I've seen that one a few times. So I wanted to do something that I hadn't seen before. And I've been telling myself I was going to do this one, and I just keep not getting around to it. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to cover another Marwan song. This time we're covering Heat Waves. This was, like I said, one of my favorite songs that I've ever had, got into Glass Animals because of my ex-wife, and still cover it, still listen to it to this day as a result. So for those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. I appreciate you very much for joining me. For those of you that are veterans of my channel, welcome back. It's good to see you again. For those of you that are new, I'm not a professional musician. I'm just a guy who loves music. I like to think that I have a pretty keen eye for detail, and I just like to go through these videos and kind of break down stuff. I love acapella. I've been, I kind of got into it during the pandemic, and I've gone down the rabbit hole ever since. Discovered a lot of new and fun groups. Voice play was discovered during the pandemic. Home Free, discovered during the Sea Shanty craze with their Sea Shanty medley. I dipped into their stuff. I've dipped into voice play. I'm going to do another voice play month to kind of go back over a lot of their older stuff. And I keep finding new groups. There's a group called the Trills, a young group that I'm probably going to cover at some point. And of course, Pentatonics, one of the most famous groups out there, I also plan on covering. So got a lot of plans for the future for these videos. I have a ton of fun doing them. I have a ton of fun reading all the comments and views, that I get on these. So until they stop being fun, I'm going to keep going with it. So the structure for this video, since I haven't seen this before, I'm going to go through and we're going to watch this like basically completely all the way through. Gonna get my honest reaction to it. If you have not seen this mix before, I'm definitely gonna recommend that you go into the description, click the subscribe button if you haven't done that, click the like button as you're traveling down there, and then click on the original video link for this that I'm going to leave in the description so that you can watch this on your own if you've never seen this before without my giant mug here in the bottom left corner. I forget what side of the screen I put myself on. So that you can then watch this on your own and experience it for yourself. And then if you want to come back and see how my stupid face looks at this, we'll do that. Once the video is over and I kind of collect myself, because usually with Marwan I have to, we're going to go back through and we're going to break down and get real nerdy and do an analysis side of things. So without further ado, let's cover Heat Waves, originally by Glass Animals, the acapella remix of Marwan Ayman featuring Eric Holloway.
Heat waves, I'm swimming in the mirror. Rose shimmer, wrinkle in the vision. Heat waves, I'm swimming in the. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Usually I put something on TV, so we never think about you and me. But today I see our reflections clearly in Hollywood, laying on the screen.
You just need a better life than this. You need something I can never give. Fake water all across the road. It's gone now, the night is come, but
sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. You can't fight it, you can't been so loving, but now I gotta let you go.
Now I gotta let you go. You'll be better off with someone new.
I don't wanna be alone. You know it hurts me too. You look so broken when you cry. One more and then I'll say goodbye. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. I just wonder what you're dreaming of when you sleep and smile so comfortable. I just wish that I could give you that look that's perfectly unsaid. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Heat waves been faking me out.
Marwan.
Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Rose shimmer, wriggle in the vision. Heat waves, I'm spinning in the mirror. Rose shimmer, wriggle in the vision. Heat waves, I'm swimming in the...
All right, that was cool. That was very cool. I enjoyed that. It's interesting listening to Glass Animals being done in bass because if I recall, it's been a little bit since I've heard Heat Waves in particular, but if I recall with Glass Animals, their lead singer is more of a baritone that can get really high into his range. It doesn't really go low. Most singers don't, but so the fact that they took this and basically dropped almost everything down an octave or so is like really interesting, and I think makes sense musically. So I really enjoyed that. I love that song, and you probably could tell I jam out every time I hear it. Yeah, just really cool, really fun. Let's go back into the very beginning and let's jam out for that. For those of you that are here for just the reaction, that's the end of the video for you. Thank you for sticking around with me for these roughly 8 minutes or so. For those of you that want to sit down and listen to the analysis and listen it out a little bit, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, so right off the beginning here, I'm going to go back to the start. Let's listen to it one more time, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so right here in the beginning, let's go right here. So obviously we have the 4 Erics on this doing really cool, actually mostly upper bass harmonies. And then our 2 center Marwins in between here. So this Marwin and this Marwin getting into very falsetto type squeaks. And then these Marwins kind of fitting into that more tenor range. So very interesting harmony right off the start, which kind of matches the original song, if I recall. It's been a little while since I've heard Heat Waves. But really adds really nice, interesting stuff. And again, Marwin's just face is ridiculously expressive. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So the first example of Eric's insanely beautiful bass voice here. Doesn't use it as much in the song as maybe you would expect. I know that he's kind of become known on TikTok in particular for his very deep bass. We heard it in Hoist the Colors, just how insane his deep voice is. And I'm sure I know in Valhalla's, the Valhalla trio that he did, he sings the bass part, so he doesn't have to go up into his high registers. So I think this is a really cool project because it shows off more of Eric's upper ranges, which, I'm pretty sure, clearly he has. I don't know how high he can get, but definitely clearly shows that he's got more range than just that deep dragon growl type bass that he's become really known for. Very similar to someone like Bobby Bass, who also is known for his kind of deep voice and deep singing, but has been really working on his high range and in songs like Iris, and even in the most recent Bass Gang video of Hide and Seek, you kind of see some of that high range being shown off as well. But he still has those deep notes with the knock, knock, I'm inside your room now. Eric, kind of the same thing. He's known for these deep notes, but here he's getting to showing off a little bit of his upper register into his baritone ranges. And I really enjoy it. I really think it's really good. I think this is smart arranging by Marwan, who, of course, is one of the smartest arrangers on the planet right now. Oh, even more bass here, which, anytime I can hear Eric sing bass, I'm going to enjoy it. But, you know, we point it out just because it's always important to point out. And this is how you know it's a Marwan mix. You hear the bell tones. So I think it's really smart after you give Eric that dragon growl to come into Marwan only doing kind of the main rhythms here. Now the bell tones aren't like a Marwan exclusive here. I think in the original song there is some guitar riffs that kind of do a lot of plinking at the upper range to make the bell tone sound happen there. But if it's a song that has bell tones, Marwan's gonna put them in as well. So I think it's really cool and really interesting that they went the path of taking, like I said, taking Eric out and letting this section be just Marwan for start, and then I think they jumped in and gave Eric kind of the first main line. So really cool arranging, just to allow Marwan to feature himself for a second, and then also come back in and continue to feature Eric. I really love right there at the bass, right here where he goes, and then he goes, right there at the end. It's a really nice little bass guitar riff that is in the original song, and it's one of my favorite parts musically of Heat Waves. So I like that he kind of really featured it here, right here. That doom, doom, doom. Really like that. So I really like actually that they trade off this line. That's what it was. So we get to see Marwan's deep bass voice here, which we know he's got it due to the B0 before. I think this is probably into his lowest chest range, maybe dips into subs a little bit in that last one. Correct me if I'm wrong on the techniques. I'm not great with those. But I really like that he kind of gets to show off not only that obviously everyone knows Eric's bass. If you've listened to anything from him, his bass is ridiculous and just makes you want to, I don't even know. Like for me, it just makes me want to go to war. Like if he sings, like I listened to his version of Valhalla and I was like, all right, I'm ready to run through a wall. Let's fight something, But Marwan, obviously, very, very successful bass voice himself. And I love listening to Marwan's because he's does a really great job of fitting the exact tone that he needs to do. So like, for example, we know like Bobby's got a very breathy bass. Like when he goes, he can, he does a really good job of pulling it back to add that sort of a level of mystique to it. Whereas you have someone like Peter who's very good at projecting and giving it power, and just using the Bass Gang members here because obviously I think of the Bass Gang a lot when I do any sort of arrangement from any of them. Whereas Marwan does a good job of being able to fit in both here. So Marwan and Tommy are kind of the guys. Obviously, Tommy's got the insane range and can go like stupid into falsetto, but then also can do insane low growl notes if he needs to, or inhale singing. And then you have Marwan, who's kind of like becoming almost the jack of all trades. You could literally plop him into any role and he can do that. And it shows in his original arrangements, and you'll see some things that I point out later where he covers the entire gamut effectively, but there's little variation, like the very highest notes. I mean, obviously you can tell he's trying to do belts and stuff, but those higher notes and those lower notes, they're like the consistency between them, the vocal consistency, the vocal timbre between them is very, very consistent and very even, which is what I think makes Marwan such a great singer to listen to. It's because what you're going to get out of him, and then he can throw in these little different techniques, these subharmonics, the growls, the chest fries, the falsetto squeaks, or anything like that with ease, and it does enough to keep things fun to listen to and engaging to listen to. But on a bass level, he's already engaging to listen to because you know you're getting a level of consistency out of him. Yeah, that mirror. I don't know if he drops into subs a little bit there, but really enjoyed that. And let's get into Eric's version in a bass voice.
Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now.
So what I love about the chorus section here is obviously we get Eric into kind of almost like a high bass, low baritone range. Marwan obviously jumping up into more of a high baritone, low tenor range, but it's everything around it that's going on, all the other Marwans. And again, this is another example of Marwan's doing incredibly smart video editing where if it's a part in the song that's going on, he's highlighting it in some form or fashion in some way. But we're seeing pretty incredible range across the board. Obviously, the Marwans in green here are getting into the very high side, whereas Marwans in yellows are kind of fitting in the middle. And then you got your vocal percussion Marwan, and then you have your bass Marwan that's covering the bass line here. Let's go back and listen to it a little bit and see if you can point it out. Marwan in light blue, I think, is the bass.
Heat waves, I'm swimming in the... Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now.
Really, really enjoy the fact that he's doing, you know, oohs and ah harmonies and interspersing background text. So you have sometimes all I think about is you, and then in the background, think about you. Late nights in the middle of June, stuff like that. Like, I really, really enjoy that. I was trying to look and see which Marwan was doing vocal percussion because I really wanted to listen to it. I really, really like from the vocal percussion standpoint that he's almost mimicking the drum kit perfectly from the original song, and that it's that really tight hi-hat sound that really, really like that. And then he also does a fantastic job mimicking the snare that I can't even do it really. It's like a very poppy snare, and that it's almost, you know, normally with the snare when you hit it, you're kind of hitting it, but in this song it almost sounds like they've stuck the stick across the head and they're clicking on the rim for the most part, even though they're not. I don't think they are. I think they just really tune the head appropriately. But really like that he's gotten that really tight hi-hat going with it, and also making that snare sound. Let me see if I can hear the kick.
Making me out. Can't make you happier now.
Okay, yeah, the kick, he's just kind of doing the very basic kind of, you can kind of, you know, mimic it a little bit in different ways with his voice, to where he's, you know, kind of doing the kind of traditional way that most people think of doing a kick drum, and that is where you just kind of ooh your lips out and then you dut off the top of your tongue or the back of your teeth, kind of like that, or where you kind of hit the roof of your mouth. Yeah, very, very common, very basic beatboxing technique in that regard, but done very effectively. And of course, he's finding different ways to make it sound even deeper, which I'm very, very rusty on my beatboxing techniques, but I think it's more like he's almost like maybe even getting his cheeks puffed out a little bit when he, you know, is kind of blowing the air out. I'm trying to remember how I did that. It's been a long time, guys. Sorry. Anyways, but I really like that type of fact that he's it's almost like if you didn't know any better, you would almost think that he pulled the drum kit sample straight off the song itself. With that, I mean, to me, that's how accurate it is. So, well done, Marwan. I know you're not known for your vocal percussion. That's not anything that you specialize in particularly. You're not Elaine Stein. You're not an Adam from Home Free. You know, you're not those types of guys that basically that's all they do, and then they intersperse singing. You're a singer first, percussion a second, but I just wanted to give props to Marwan for his vocal percussion in this, because I think it's really, really solid and fits perfectly with the song and sounds eerily similar to the song itself.
Usually I put something on TV, so we never think about you and me. But today I see our reflections clearly in Hollywood, laying on the screen.
I really like the way that he does that Hollywood laying on the screen. Does that little dip and valley into moving into the next chord. I really enjoy that. Again, it's up in Eric's higher registers, at least of stuff that I've heard from him, because he's mostly just dragging growl. I don't even want to try to mimic his voice type singing. So to get him, and like I said, I'm positive he has higher registers, and you're showing off like his almost like a high bass, low baritone. I think is where we're at here. But I really like that he did that little dip. It adds enough little bit of fun little contrast in going into the song, because in the song itself, that line is flat. It's the same note all the way through. So getting to add that little bit of, ad lib almost. It almost felt like, I mean, it's probably written that way, but compared to the original song, it feels like ad lib, to where you get to add that little bit of extra oomph to the song. Just really enjoy it.
Just need a better life than this. You need something I can never give.
As we do in these songs, we're pointing out Eric's bass.
If fake water all across the road, it's gone now, the night is come, but
Really like that interaction. I'm sure that was written in Marwan's storyboarding, but I'm trying to see if I can point out the deep note, the third note on the boom, boom, boom. Figure that one out real quick.
You need something I can never give. Fake water all across the road.
It's that one.
It's gone.
It's probably a 2, some sort of, probably the bass C2. I don't remember the exact notes, but if you know the note, let me know.
Now the night is come, but
Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been flaking me out. Can't make you happier now. You can't fight it, you can't breathe. You say something.
Ooh, I like the way he did breathe, like kind of stretching out the BR sound, the breathe. Really enjoy that. Nice little touch there.
Been so loving, but now I gotta let you go.
I need that note.
gotta let you go. You'll be better off somewhere.
Oh, and I already know it's chest, because that man just has infinite chest range, it feels like. If there's a dude that's going to hit a 0 in chest, it's going to be him, but let's forget that.
I don't wanna be alone. You know it hurts me too. You look
So what I love about that little middle section, of course, we're talking about Eric's bass here, but like, I really enjoy the fact that, again, using the arrangement, Marwan could have very easily handled that section, but we get to show off the thing that Eric is mostly known for, and that it's his deep bass, his deep chest voice. We get to see it there. So really like the arranging by Marwan as we move into this section here, which is kind of the bridge to the next chorus.
so broken when you cry. One more and then I'll say goodbye. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late
I like the pointing at the camera. I would do stuff like that.
nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been flaking me out. Can't make you happier now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June.
Letting it play because basically we're hearing a lot of what we heard in the original chorus. So just really nice harmonies in the background by Marwan, interspersing the text in between the oohs and the ahs. So just really, really cool stuff. Again, just, kind of playing it back through. There's not much new going on through this section that I can pick out or that is really standing out to me. There's one thing I'm in particular looking for, and I think it comes up in the next 30 seconds or so.
Heat waves been flaking me out. Can't make you happier now. I just wonder
Right here.
what you're dreaming of when you sleep and smile so comfortable. I just wish that I could give you that look that's perfectly unsaid.
So that section right there, this whole section actually is probably my favorite in the song itself, in this cover of it. I love the chorus, of course, and the original song, but this section was really fun for me. So what I love what's going on here is not so much what Eric's doing, although he's doing a fantastic job, of course. It's what Marwan's doing, in that he's doing a lot to build tension, almost, with this slow climbing high notes in the background of this ooh, sorry for the singing, but kind of building that tension as we get into this next section where he's gonna drop some bombs in a way that you don't expect, but then he also hits, of course, some low bass notes, as we heard right there before I paused it. So we're going to go back and just listen to this real quick.
When you sleep and smile so comfortable, I just wish that I could give you that look that's perfectly unsaid. Sometimes all
I love that bass drop.
I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Heat waves been faking me out.
You heard them belts, right? You heard it, right, in the background? If you didn't hear it, listen in the background and listen to Marwan get in falsetto. He's a bass. He's getting into falsetto 5s and 6 range.
Been faking me out. Heat waves been faking me out.
And if you can't tell which Marwans are doing it, just look at the faces. You can very easily tell which ones are doing the high belts, because he usually cranks his neck down, mouth is open wide, eyes closed, as he's really pushing himself to get up into those notes. Very, very cool section. I love that. Shows off. Obviously, we had a really cool bass drop from Marwan, and then we also had this really high notes that he established by building this tension throughout that entire section by slowly climbing the register the entire way. And you were just like, okay, when's it coming? And then those falsetto notes to me are dropping the bomb, so to speak, where he just hits these notes and you're just like, this guy is a bass and has hit a B0 subharmonic before, and now he's doing stuff like that. Like, there's a reason Marwan is seen by many as a prodigy. You know, I fully predict that in not even maybe 10 years, we're going to be sitting there talking about, oh, I remember when Marwan was just a YouTube guy. He's going to be freaking selling out arenas all over the world. Also, I forgot about the pause. That pause is actually in the original song. And so is that, like, rock dropping into the... You can do it like that. That is actually in the original song, and I forgot about it. And so I was like, wait, he didn't finish the song. And then that hit, and you probably saw me smile and chuckle because I forgot about it.
All I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June.
Really like the way he's doing the harmonies of middle of June type situations. Really like that he's going into that kind of making it almost feel like it's a rubber band, where he's kind of going out, stretching it, and then coming back in and stretching it again, where, you know, just kind of adds this nice depth to the main chorus lines, which are being done kind of in the same same vein as the rest. But what makes these sections interesting to listen to is everything going on in the background.
Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Some rose shimmer, wriggle in the vision. Heat waves, I'm spinning in the mirror. Rose shimmer, wriggle in the vision. Heat waves, I'm swimming in the...
And then, of course, we close it off with the thing that Eric's known for, which is his low bass voice there at the end. Does he put who all worked on that? Nope. It's probably on Marwan's channel. I have to go find it on Marwan's channel. But really enjoyed that video. Eric Holloway is someone that I discovered this year. So interested in getting much more into what he's doing. Like I said, I listened to his version of A Hollow with Peyton Parrish. And a couple of, that trios, that video that's out there. If you haven't seen it, go to Eric's channel. It's on there. And I love it. So... but that's the end of this video. Nearly went 30 minutes on a Marwan arrangement, which I think that's the longest I've done for him. Still not still voice play the only one to make me go over 30. So that's the end of this video. I hope you're all enjoying yourself. We're going to get into Christmas music next year. Probably next week, we're going to start with the king himself, Jeff Castellucci, doing God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, and we'll be on the lookout for any new releases that happen during the Christmas month. So until the next video, I hope you're all staying safe. You hope you're enjoying yourself. You're having fun. You're listening to good music. And I will see you all in the next video.